January, not the best month to be making a video, and it's been raining and it's muddy out here, and as usual, I do a lot of manual labor around this property, so I'm kind of creaky around the joints, and I got on real bad shoes for trying to do a throwing display. But this isn't so much of a demonstration as it is just kind of trying to fill you in on some tweaks, some further ideas about the new submarine angle that I was talking about over a month ago, I think. It's been a while since I did one of these, but I've still been working indoors, trying to understand this motion a little better, find little tweaks around the edges. You know, in the old Negro leagues, they only had one ball to play with in the whole game, and they didn't use it to warm up with between innings. They did something called shadow ball, where they would just pretend that they were throwing the ball around the infield and turning the double play and the whole thing. And actually, those guys were pretty good. So you don't necessarily have to be throwing a live ball in order to discover things about your footwork and your motion. Anyway, that's been my hope as I've tried to figure out further things about this. Now, I realized, again, what I was doing was trying to keep from closing at all from this submarine motion. I'm trying to throw in this low plane, almost as if I'm a third baseman that's picking up a ball and really shooting it fast underhand to first base. And I don't want my lower body to get in the way. So I've been doing this really strange wind-up where I start with the back foot behind the rubber, and I'm going to kick toward the plate instead of wrap my weight back around the rubber. I don't want to throw over my body at all. I want to be able to go straight toward the plate. And I realized at one point that I'm trying too hard to stride out, which is, of course, what you want to do if you're throwing in a more conventional fashion over the top. But I don't see any payoff doing that with this motion. Why would you be trying to stride out as far as you can, even if you're getting a lot of energy going that way toward the plate, when that plane is, you know, 30, maybe 40 degrees off of the plane that you're trying to throw in? So I really have decided that forget about kicking out and stepping as far and as powerfully toward the plate as you can. Let's just try to get something loaded onto the back foot, and don't worry about the length of the stride. Just fire off the back foot, keep the front foot out of the way. And so what I'm doing is, it's no longer a kick, it's just a very modest lift, and I'm going to keep my hands in place until I'm ready to start down. And the place where I'm really going to try to get some energy in with that left leg is right here. When I do that little pump with the left leg, what I'm doing is really throwing my weight onto the foot that's standing on the rubber, onto, in my case, of course, onto the right foot, so that, and that also gets my energy down onto that back knee, and I'm ready to really fire off of it. So let me throw a few and see if you can't see the target. I'm just as glad today, but it's not, you know, I'm a 66-year-old man trying to throw hard. That's not very enlightening to anybody. I'm just trying to show you the basic motion here. So and if I get a little hop off of that back leg, it means I've loaded plenty of energy onto it and I'm firing out well. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. I want to get the little hop. I haven't really done it yet. Now that was not exactly a hop, but I'm carrying through and ending with this foot farther forward than that other one. I like that. It's something, it shows that bottom half and top half are moving closer to the same plane. Oh boy, my joints are stiff. I feel like it's got some good velocity. Well, I completely missed the target, but now that was a real good one. I'm, again, not concerned with how far I stride toward the plate. I'm just concerned with getting a good drive off of that back leg. And I feel that I'm keeping everything more in the same plane here. I'm convinced that that's where you get your power. There's so much discussion in pitching circles about where does power come from. I'm not capable of setting up some kind of physics experiment in the MIT laboratory, but I just feel that there's so much power that gets sapped from a pitcher's delivery when his bottom half is doing one thing and his top half is doing another. So I'm really working on trying to simplify things and just get everything as much in the same plane as I can. Now, the other problem with this delivery, of course, when you're throwing from a funny arm angle, you're probably going to be a short reliever. And so when you come into a game, there may well be runners on base. How are you going to do all that with a guy on first or a guy on second? They're going to get a huge jump on you. So, been thinking about that a lot, and I decided maybe I was overthinking it. Look how simple this is. Slipped in the mud. Let's get up here. Threw out from under my hat. Kind of overthrowing. That wasn't bad, but I still have to, I haven't practiced that at all. Could you tell? But, I mean, I've tried it out enough that I can tell that that's going to work. With a little practice, there's virtually no wind up there at all. I'm truly throwing like the third baseman who's just picked up the ball and is getting rid of it in a big hurry. And there's no backward wind up there. I'm just lifting up the front foot and kicking it a little bit. And again, the whole point of that is to get weight back on the back foot, which I'm going to drive off of. That's all I need. That's all I got to do. And I've got that nice open lane. I'm throwing in that plane that I've created for my upper body. What's the good of having all this drive that comes out of your lower body if it's going to seal off the flow of energy from your upper body? So that's what I'm trying to do. And let me say very quickly here, because this is smallballsuccess.com, where I'm posting this, is where we've done this research. And yeah, we look into the way that guys back in the dead ball era, certainly before World War II, used to play. You can find pitchers before World War II in the 20s and even the 30s who were using a lot of lower arm angles. But were there a lot of submarine pitchers back then? I can't find evidence that there were a lot of them. Carl May, the guy who actually killed a batter throwing from down here, he was a submariner, but there was nothing particular about that style that related it to dead ball. the reason we're looking into dead ball in the first place is because I think there are a lot of clues there about how shorter guys could really succeed at the game. So this isn't necessarily something drawn from 80, 100 years ago, but it is something that I think shorter guys who often have broader body types would be able to do, and taller guys wouldn't be able to do so well. You know, the tall, lanky guys, yeah, you look around the game today, and a lot of the Submarine pitchers, sidearm pitchers, are tall and slender. But this that I'm doing right now, you don't need the long stride toward home plate because your power is coming from your butt, your thighs, your core, your lower body. You guys who are shorter and broader, this is playing into your hand. So that's what we're trying to do here at Small Ball Success. And I think this is really promising. So I'm going to keep working on it, and if you like it, you give it a try. There's nothing I did here today, even though I wasn't, as usual, wasn't well warmed up, but there's nothing, I swear, that I did that gave me any pain in any joint, any part of my arm. People say, well, or if you throw that way, boy, you're just going to kill your arm. Well, if you have the broad body type, and if you keep things open and fluid, and if you, just don't block yourself off and don't do things awkwardly, then I don't see why you should have arm problems. This should be the best motion in the world for not having arm problems. So think about it and maybe give it a try.